Om Sadashivasamārambhām Shankaracharya Madhyamām Asmadacharya Paryantām Vande Guru Paramparam. Om Purnamadah Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnamevavashishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Om Namo Brahmadibhyo Brahma Vidya Sampradaya Kartribhyo Vamsha Rishibhyo Namo Gurubhyaha. We were in the Artha Bhaga Brahmana, which is the second Brahmana in the third chapter. Here, Artha Bhaga is questioning Yajnavalkya. First, he asked, what are or how many grahas and atigrahas are there? Graha here is understood as the indriyas and even manas, all the karana. And atigraha means the indriya vishaya or sense objects. So Yajnavalkya enumerated it as 8. And then he also said what are these grahas and atigraha. And then there was a question how one can get free from this graha and atigraha. Is there a, because if you consider graha and atigraha as mrityu, is there a mrityu for that mrityu? Like that, a trick question was asked. And Yajnavalkya answered, yes, it is there. And jnanam is the one which will free you from this graha and atigraha, because you are being that jnana swarupa. Once you understand yourself as the limitless conscious being, none of these things really are even in the same order of reality. So they cannot anyway cause you anything, and that itself is the mrityu of the mrityu, because there is nothing else which can touch this satyam, correct? Because it is not a prameya. It is not an object for any instrument. It is not an object of knowledge, and this Atma is not an object for any karmendriya also, correct? For any action. So, in fact, this point is said even in the Gita. Aprameyam, the word is used. So, being aprameya only, Bhagavan later on even gives Achedyoyam adahyoyam akledyo shoshya yevacha nitya sarvagata sthanuhu achaloyam sanatanaha, and all this. Or even he explicitly says that it cannot be burnt, it cannot be drowned, it cannot be dried, like this, because the Atma is not an object of either knowledge or it is not an object of action. That being the case, there is nothing else which can really destroy it. So you don't have to worry about when you say mrityoho mrityu. Some people say whether will there be a infinite regress and all that. That's not the case. So that also was answered. Then there was another question about what happens to the jnani. Once you know this, for whom the mrityoho mrityuhu is very clear, what happens to that person after his death, particularly after the death of the physical body, we have to say. Then Yajnavalkya said everything resolves here only. Atraiva tasya pranaha na utkramante atraiva samavaniyante. So the pranas do not rise, but they just resolve there and then and there itself. The physical body, of course, decomposes and disintegrates. And the Sukshma Sharira also just resolves into the Samashti. The Karana Sharira is already gone. The Ajnanam is gone. Whatever Vikshepa was there, the Avarana is gone with Jnanam. But whatever the continuing Vikshepa or projection also goes away. So the Videha Mukti was talked about here. Then one more question was asked. Even if the Jnani, you say everything resolves here, because in the other Upanishad, the Shodasha Kala and all is talked about, correct? 16 aspects or parts. What remains even if the Jnani goes away? Because the Jnani is Brahman alone. Particularly after the physical body falls off, Brahman alone is there. Because what we call as Jnani also is with reference to the Upadhi. Once the Upadhi is gone, all that is there is Brahman alone. But what remains means from the Vyavaharika standpoint, the name alone remains. Name continues. That's why we still talk about the Guru Shishya Parampara, all the Gurus in the Parampara. The name remains. Then the question was about, this is the one we are actually currently talking about. You can see here. You can see Arthabhaga finally asks a question about the Ajnani. When an Ajnani dies, what happens? Means he himself actually enumerates that different organs resolve into the Adhisthana Devata. The Devata Amsha of that organ goes away. The Devata itself withdraws it, only so that it can be given back again in a new body. It can be. So this was told by Arthabhaga himself. Okay. But then he asks, Kvayam tada purushaha bhavati? Where is this Purusha? Because all the different organs of the Purusha are all gone during the process of death itself. In fact, even that will be discussed later on in Brhadaranyaka itself. But even otherwise, what they say is all your organs are all getting resolved one by one, and you are no more under the control or anything. The Jiva is not doing anything there. Jiva cannot do anything once the organs and the mind is resolved. Then where is this Purusha? Means who is actually controlling everything, because the Jiva has to take another body. What is the factor which is deciding what will happen to this Jiva and where will this Jiva be? All these things are decided by what? This is the question. When this question was asked, Yajnavalkya did not want to answer in the Sabha itself, in the main hall where they were having this discussion, because Bhashyakara says that because there are conflicting views on this, which will produce more heat than light. Okay. Because if you start talking about something controversial, people all shout, only emotional outbursts are happening, and nobody is going to become any wiser. So he said, okay, you come. He asked for his hand. They both walked away separately. They had a discussion. Okay. What is the primary factor which decides the next life of this jiva? Okay. And then it seems they had a long conversation. When we read the Bhashya, we'll see that Bhashyakara describes all that. And then came to a conclusion that karma is that factor. Okay. Karma is that. Karma haiva tad uchatuhu. So they said karma is that one which decides everything, and they praised karma. By saying they praised karma, there are other factors also are there, but they are all subsidiary. Karma is the pradhana or the main factors. Others are all, we can call them guna bhuta. means that you can take them as subsidiary factors, or even factors through which karma itself operates. We can even look at it like that. So karma is praised, and then the Upanishad says, Punyo vai punyena karmana bhavati, papah papena iti. This particular Vakya is quoted by Bhashyakara a lot to again point out that karma is the main factor. And if you do punya karma, then you get the punya phala for that, correct? And if you do the papa karma, then you get the papa phala. If you read some of the Puranas, they talk about so many types of naraka, okay, or hell. And what all happens there, if you do what, you will go to which naraka. All these things are described in a lot of detail. So maybe everybody should read it once so that they'll have some idea about all that, and it may actually influence their behavior, I think. So anyway, after this, again Jaratkarava or our Arthabhaga, Tatoha Upararama, he also then withdrew, or he stopped asking any more questions because he thought that now he has asked whatever he wanted to ask, and Yajnavalkya knows everything. Now in this we already saw some bhashya where Bhashyakara actually talked about Bhartru Prapancha's views, where they were proposing certain things, okay? And he showed that how it is actually illogical, or it's all only their imagination, okay? Whatever the explanation given by Bhartru Prapancha is not relevant. They were talking about some intermediate state and all that, and they were trying to give the connection based on that. So that's not correct. So this also we discussed. So now the actual Bhashyakara comes here. He starts giving the Bhashya for the Upanishad mantra itself. So tatra kena prayuktam graha atigraha lakshanam bandhanam iti etat nirdharayishaya aha. Okay, so now Bhashyakara says why Upanishad is now starting this new Vakya. Okay, means the point which is being revealed here is that this graha atigraha lakshana bandhanam means the bondage which is in the form of graha and atigraha. It is started by what? Or it is actually impelled by what? Okay, kena prayukta. To determine that, okay, nirdharayishaya means what? With the desire to determine that, now the Upanishad starts, it seems. It starts saying, what does it say? Yatra asya purushasya. So that's how it is there here, correct? Yajnavalkya, then yatra asya purushasya mritasya agnim vagapyeti vatam pranas chakshuhu adityam, like that. So this is what Bhashyakara is commenting now. Yatra asya purushasya means Bhashyakara then says here asamyak darshinaha. So purushasya means previously the purushaha is a jnani here. Okay, here also we talked about yatra ayam purushaha mriyate. But this purushaha is a jnani purushaha, or a wise man. This person is the other wise man, we have to say. So not a wise man. So asamyak darshinaha means one who sees the erroneous, who has erroneous ideas about himself, herself, okay? So does not have samyak darshana. So he is the asamyak darshina. For him what happened? And also shiraf panyadi mataha mritasya. So one who thinks that I have head, okay, I have hands, like this, all your bodily parts and all, you think that it is yours or it is you, okay? Aham mama iti. you are doing vyavahara. Such a person, but he is dead now. Mritasya. This guy is dead. Then what happens? Vag agnim apyeti. So the vag merges or vag attains the Agni Devata. Vataha vatam pranaha apyeti. Chakshur adityam apyeti. So like this, each one goes to its own Adhisthana Devata. Iti sarvatra sambadhyate, he says that apyeti has to be connected everywhere, because initially Upanishad gives this apyeti, vag apyeti, that's all. Then vatam pranaha, chakshur adityam, manaschandram, like that. So he says this apyeti you have to consider everywhere. Okay, that's fine. Sarvatra sambadhyate. Then he says, he is just listing out whatever the Upanishad is again saying. Manaschandram, dishashrotram, prithivim shariram, akasham atma. Okay, when it says akasham atma, Bhashyakara wants to give a note there. What is this atma which is merged or which attains this akasha? Means atra atma adhishtanam hridayakasham uchyate. So here atma means the adhisthana of the jiva, wherever the jiva is anchored, or the locus of the jiva. So there we talk about the hridaya akasha is the locus of the jiva. That hridaya akasha merges with the bigger akasha, correct? So that's what is the atma here. The atma here is the adhishtanam of the jivatma, which is the hridaya akasha, we say, the akasha or the space which is there in the heart. Means here hridaya also is buddhi only we have to take. The buddhi guha also we call it sometimes, the cave of the intellect. So whichever way we say that, there is a space involved in that, whether you say it is a cave or simply the space which is there in your heart and all that, that merges with the akasha itself. So sa akasham apyeti, Bhashyakara. Then oshadihi apiyanti lomani, the hair, etc., they attain to the oshadhi or the herbs or plants. Vanaspatin apiyanti keshaha. Okay. The hair on the head goes to the trees. Apsu lohitam cha retascha. So the blood and the semen goes to the water. Retascha nidhiyate is the word used by Upanishad. Means nidhiyate means it is deposited, literally. It means you deposit somewhere, means what? You want to pick it up back, correct? That is the idea. So we deposit our luggage in the check-in counter, means it's not permanent. You are not giving it away permanently. No, mama, not like that, correct? You want to get it back. In fact, one comedian once was saying that he was traveling by Delta Airlines, it seems. Okay. I don't know why I am remembering this here, but anyway. So he was traveling by Delta Airlines and he checked in his luggage. Then he went and they landed in another airport. But then he never got his luggage. It happens sometimes to many of us. You are waiting there for a long time. Your luggage alone doesn't come. It comes last in that luggage, whatever wherever the luggage comes, correct, the conveyor. Then in this case it never came. Then he went and he had to fight with all those airline employees. Then finally he says, I now understood what Delta is. Okay. This Delta is don't expect luggage to arrive. That is Delta. Anyway, but generally if you deposit something, you want to withdraw it again later on. So here, that's why Bhashyakara says, nidhiyate means what? Punar adana lingam. So this word nidhiyate indicates that all these things you will again take it back, because this is Ajnani we are talking about. It doesn't resolve permanently like for a Jnani. The Devata Amshas are all going to the Devatas, but then again it will be taken in another body. That is the idea. Punaradhana Lingam, he says. It is an indication for again taking it back. The word Nidhiyate is there. So then he gives an explanation for that now. He says, Sarvatrahi Vagadi Shabdena Devataha Parikrihyante. So when you talk about Vak, Vatam, Adityam and all that, correct? In each of these cases, the Devatas are to be understood. Okay. Natu Karnani eva upakramanti prang moksha. So here the Devatas have to be understood. And before moksha, all these things will not resolve just like that completely. Okay. The Karanas, like the Golakas are all there, they are all disintegrating. But then the Devata Amsha is withdrawn and again it will be available in another body. That's what he's saying. Prang moksha. Before moksha, okay, although these Karanas, the physical body and all decomposes, but all these Sukshma Sharira, it is all withdrawn. The Devata Amsha is withdrawn by the Devatas and again it will be available. That is the idea. Tatra Devatabihi Anadhishtitani Karanani Nyasta Datradi Upamanani. So he says it is like, see, what is the analogy here is, for a Jnani everything disintegrates and everything is gone. Okay. But here for an Ajnani who has not had Jnanam, he's not a Mukta Purusha, he doesn't have moksha. So what happens here? The Devatamsha behind the Indriya is the one which is the consciousness or the aware or the sentient aspect of that. Because of that only the Karana itself is wielded by the sentient being, correct? Karana, any instrument has to be wielded by a sentient being. If that sentient being is not there, the Karana is still there, but it is not active. So here he is giving the example of a Nyasta Datra. Datra means basically a sickle or some kind of a sword. You can take it as a knife or a sword, but it's a sickle. And if the sickle means somebody has to be holding it, correct, for it to be used. If you keep it down, the sickle is still there, but it's not active, correct? You can say it's not being used by any sentient being. Similarly, here also all these Indriyas for a Ajnani, they are all there, but the Devatamsha is gone, means the sentient aspect in that is gone. So they are all not really active, but they are there, but they can be used again. That is the point here. Okay, Punaradhana Lingam, he said already, correct? So they can be used again whenever required. So that is the kind of situation here for an Ajnani. So it can be compared to this Nyasta Datra. And here Videhascha Karta Purushaha Aswatantraha Kim Ashritaha Bhavati iti Prichyate. Okay, the next question is, okay, all these things are fine. The Devata Amsha is all withdrawn. This Artha Bhaga himself, he enumerated this. Then his question finally is what? This Karta Bhokta, the Jiva, is not having any Deha, no. The Deha and all is fallen. And he is Aswatantraha because of that, because he doesn't have any more will or anything to do. He cannot do anything now. He doesn't have any independence. But still, what is his ashraya? Kim ashritaha bhavati? Okay. Being rooted in what? He now gains another body and all that we say, correct? So where is this Purusha and what is the thing which is actually guiding him, you can say? Because he himself cannot do anything. He is asvatantraha, no? He doesn't have any deha also. Both the stula deha is gone, sukshma deha also, in that the devata amshas are gone. So it is only like a shell. It's not active. So now where is this Purusha? Or who is guiding this Purusha to wherever this Purusha is going now? So kwa ayam tada Purushaha bhavati means Bhashyakara says kim ashritaha tada Purushaha bhavati. So again, basically taking the ashraya of what this Purusha is now going, or he is there. He further explains it. He says, Yam ashrayam ashritya punaha karyakarana sanghatam upadatte. So the meaning, actual meaning is what? Based on what he is getting, again this karyakarana sanghata, right? Again a body, mind, sense complex. Based on what he is getting that again? Okay, that is the question. So unless you have a body, mind, sense complex, you cannot have bondage. So he says, Yena graha atigraha dakshanam bandhanam prayujyate tat kimiti prashna. So by which this graha atigraha lakshana bandha or bondage starts again. Correct? Because once you have a body, all the bondage starts again in the form of, because in the body only these sense organs are functioning and they are going after, or they are attracted to the sense objects. So the bondage continues. So again it starts. So, but what is the reason of? What is the cause for that? What is the pradhana prayukta, that which starts it? So that is the question. So now the answer, atra uchyate. What is the answer? In fact, Bhashyakara says, with reference to this subject, atra here is a Vishaya Saptami. With reference to this subject, many people say many different things. Okay. So he is now listing all that out. Swabhava, yadricha, kala, karma, daiva, vijnana matra, shunyani, vadibihi, parikalpitani. So all these different things are imagined by different people as the cause for you to take another body. Okay. So some people say swabhava means it is your own nature. This swabhava is said by Purva Mimamsakas, they say. Then yadricha means basically by chance. Okay. So the by chance means some people, I don't know exactly who is saying that, but by chance some people say that. Kala means the Jyotishas. Some people say everything is Kala. The day, whenever you were born, okay, that only determines everything. Time determines everything. So for the Jyotisha, Kala is important. And karma, some Vaidikas say karma is the one. Because the Punya Papa alone is the one which determines. Then Daiva, some people say the Devatas or Ishvara. Ishvara is the one who will determine. The Bhaktas, you can say, correct? Those who are Ishvara Bhaktas, they say Ishvara only determines. Then the Vijnana Matra means these are all Bauddhas. They talk about that Kshanika Vijnana, momentary consciousness and all that. That has its own something. They say that every moment that consciousness alone creates both the subject and the complete objective world. So that is the one which determines that. Or Shunya, the Madhyamika says that everything is Shunya. This is also another Buddhist. So like this, there are different people who have different contention about this. They are all having their own opinions. Parikalpitani. So what does he says? Ataha, therefore, aneka vipratipatti sthanatva. So this particular subject matter, vipratipatti means what? Differing opinions are there. Okay, it is something, a subject matter on which so many varied and contentious opinions are there. So therefore, what naiva jalpanyayena vastu nirnayaha. So here you cannot arrive at a conclusion by defeating your opponent. For that, your opponent should be ready to debate with you. That too based on some principles and all that, agreed upon rules. So here nothing like that will happen. Everybody will be shouting emotionally, let us say. So you cannot do jalpa. See, jalpa is a kind of argument or sambhashana where you try to, you argue, okay, both of them, and but primarily more than even establishing your paksha or your siddhanta, you try to first show what is wrong in the others. Okay, that is the jalpa. So like that, you cannot do jalpa here in all this crowd, and we cannot arrive at a conclusion because so many different opinions are there. Correct? He listed all these things. Out of this, what is the one? Therefore, what he says, atra vastu nirnayam ched ichchasi. So if you desire to ascertain what is it that actually causes this graha atigraha lakshana bandhana, correct? The bondage. He says ahara somya hastam. So you give me your hand. Arthabhaga, hey Arthabhaga, come, give me your hand. Avam eva etasya tvat prishtasya veditavyam yate. So whatever was asked by you, correct, and whatever you desire to know, we will only decide that amongst the two of us. We don't want to argue. It is like nowadays in the TV studios, everybody argues. They don't even argue. They are all shouting at each other. Nobody even listens to the other guy. But some people find that entertaining. I don't know. Many people watch all these TV debates in India nowadays, I think, more like entertainment, because there is, as I told you, there is only heat in all that. There is no light. Everybody is shouting across the other person. So that's not going to help. So he says, we will go quietly and we will discuss it amongst ourselves and arrive at a conclusion. Okay. Tad vedishyavaha, nirupayishyavaha. So these are all dual case. Okay. Vedishyavaha, nirupayishyavaha means what? We will know that, or we will ascertain, we will determine. How? Kasmat. Okay. Or why? Why are you going alone like this? Kasmat. What is the reason why you don't want to discuss it in this sabha? Na here is now, actually it is naha. It is not the negative particle. That's why Bhashyakara immediately now he says, he puts it into dual. Avayoho etat vastu sajane janasamudaya nirnetum shakyate. So he says, we cannot determine this in this janasamudaya, in this place where everybody is there in this hall. We cannot, along with all these people, we cannot determine this. Ataha ekantam gavishyavaha vicharanaya. We'll go alone and sit and determine. We'll do the vichara there amongst ourselves. Then the Upanishad says, Tauha ityadi shruti vachanam. So Upanishad itself is now saying Tauha, it starts here. So now etat sajana iti. So that's what he explained now, Bhashyakara. It cannot be done in this sabha. Then it says Tauha utkramya mantrayan chakrate. So this part he is explaining now. The Shruti is now telling what they actually did, but it doesn't give the details and all that. The details of their arguments or discussions are not there. Okay. So the Shruti Vachana is there now. Tauha ityadi Shruti Vachana. Shruti itself is saying, it is actually narrating what happened. So Tau here is Yajnavalkya Artha Bhagav Ekantam Gatva. So they both went alone. Then what? Gatva Kim Chakratuhu. What did they do? Iti Uchyate. That is said here. Tauha Utkramya Sajanat Deshat Mantrayan Chakrate. So they went away from this place where all the other people were there. Okay. And then they Mantrayan Chakare means they discussed, you can say, correct? They had a discussion to determine what is the cause for this person to take another body and all that. No Bhashyakara, no supplies. Shruti is not giving all that. He just says that they went. Okay, and then they had a discussion. And then Tauha yad uchatuhu. Then they said that karma haiva and all that. The Shruti goes. But Bhashyakara here adds what Adav Laukika Vadi Pakshanam Ekaikam Parikrihya Vicharitavantau. So he says that they both went and then they started discussing all these different things, correct? In the Loka, whatever people were saying, each one of them, Ekaikam, taking each one of them, Parigrihya, Vicharitavantau, they analyzed all of these factors. Then what? After doing this Vichara only, finally they are saying no. Tauha Vicharya yad uchatuhu apohya purva pakshan sarvaneva. So having negated or giving up all the purva pakshas, okay, then what? Tachrunu, then they say finally their conclusion. Okay, that is what now you have to listen to, or that's what the Shruti is saying. Tachrunu karma haiva ashrayam punaha punaha karyakarna upadana hetum tat tatra uchutuhu uktavantam. Then they say that karma is the ashraya. Karma is the basis on which you again and again take different bodies, different karyakarna upadana. So that is the hetu. Karma alone is the hetu. That is the pradhana karana. Why? Because even if somebody says it is swabhava, but how did you get your swabhava? The swabhava itself is dependent on certain things, correct? Your parentage, your genes, and also to an extent how you grew in your childhood, what happened to you. All that determines your nature beings. The karma alone is the reason for that. Or even kala. Why were you born on a particular date and some time? Based on that only the horoscope we are making, correct? But that itself is due to karma only, you say. If you have good karma, then you will be born with a good horoscope. If you have done bad karma and that bad karma has to be exhausted, you will also have a horoscope which is not so great. See, the planets, some people say planets themselves are affecting you and all this. In fact, some astrologers also talk like that. So, or they even say some electromagnetic waves are coming and it is affecting you, things like that. But those are all mostly, it's all considered as pseudoscience only, even if you tell it to somebody. We don't have to say like that. See, the important thing, Jyotisha is a model. So it models the positions of the planets at the time of your birth, and then based on how it is going to also during your lifetime, all these, we cannot even say planet, all these heavenly bodies, because Surya and Chandra are not even planets, correct? And Rahu, Ketu also cannot be called planets. They are all, you can say, heavenly bodies. How these heavenly bodies were placed at the time of your birth and how they are moving throughout your life, during your life, how they are moving. Based on that, it's a model to predict. It's not a causation or anything. It's more of a correlation. So people are confusing. But even that, why were you born on a particular date and time? Means karma only we have to say, correct? So basically, even that's why we have to understand Jyotisha is predicting your prarabdha. According to the prarabdha, what can happen to you or what is most probable. But your Purushartha also is there. That's why the Jyotish has to give you a Prayaschitta. So through the Prayaschitta, you can neutralize your Prarabdha Karma for your own benefit and all that. So that is the concept of Jyotisha. Jyotisha is always giving you some Prayaschitta, some neutralizing, some prayers, whatever. Or you have to go to some temple, or you have to do dhanam. Like this, they gave you different types of things to do, which are all prayaschitta. And that will help you to overcome any bad effects of your prarabdha karma. Like that, so all these other factors, even Ishvara. See, Ishvara also cannot, by his own ichha, Ishvara cannot do anything. Understand this. Then Ishvara will become partial and all that. So that's why Ishvara also goes along by your karma only. Through the karma only, Ishvara is giving you whatever you deserve. So Ishvara cannot act independent of the karma. Or Ishvara himself has created his order. And in that, karma is the main factor. Like that, we have to take. So whichever one you take there, like this, they would have argued, I think. That's what I'm trying to present. Of course, Vijnana Matra and Shunyam and all, they would have rejected straight away, I think. So, and it is not just a chance according to us. Yadricha. Chance is most like nowadays scientists, materialist and all can say it is Yadricha, I think. I don't think but even there, the scientists and Charvaka and all, they don't accept a next life only. So who is this Yadricha argument? Who is giving this Yadricha argument? I don't know. But anyway. So, having done all this argument, now what? They have decided that karma heva ashrayam punah punaha karya karna upadana hetum tat tatra uchatuhu. So that they said, uktavantau, what? But na kevalam, it is not just karma alone. All these other factors are also there. We don't deny that Ishvara is playing a factor. Ishvara only, we have to still say which karma will fructify in this life. Who decides that? Means maybe Ishvara has a role there, we have to say. So, all this, but karma alone is not the cause, but karma is the main. That's why karma is praised here. Karma is the main factor. Others are all subsidiary. Kala also is important, but Kala itself may be determined by karma. So, Kala, karma, daiva, ishvareshu, abhyubagateshu. So, having accepted Kala, Ishvara, karma, Ishvara, all these things have been accepted as cause. But amongst all these things, so abhyupagateshu hetushu. So amongst all these causes, yat prashamsatuhu tau karma heva tat prashamsatuhu. So what they praised as the main factor or main cause, that is karma alone. So having considered all these causes, karma is considered as the main. Therefore, then they have now decided. Okay, so yasman nirdharitam yetate karma prayuktam graha atigrahadi karya karna upadanam punah punaha tasmat punyaha vai shastra vitena punyena karmana bhavati tad viparitena viparitaha bhavati papaha papena. So, because now they have done this ascertainment that karma is the one which is starting. Okay, karma prayuktam. Karma is the one which is starting this graha atigraha lakshana karya karana upadana. Okay, so the physical body and the subtle body, all these things, they are all started by this karma again and again. In fact, even if one body is gone, another one is started. Okay, this life and death keeps on going. It's a vicious cycle. Therefore, what tasmat punyaha vai, the punyaha here means shastra vitena punyena, he says. So how do you gain punya? Means by doing Shastra Vita Karma, whatever is mandated by the Shastra, because Dharma is to be known only from the Shastra. So you do the Shastra Vita Karma, and by that what you gain? Punyaha. Punyena Punyaha. Through Punya, by doing Punya Karma, you gain Punya Phalam. The Punya is the Adrishta, and you do something which is not mandated or even which is prohibited by the Shastra. Okay, Tad Viparitena. So if you go against the Shastra, whatever is said in the Shastra, then Viparitaha Bhavati, Papaha Papena. By doing Papa Karma, you gain only Papa. So now, if somebody asks, where in the Veda Karma is talked about, means here, Yatha Karma, Yatha Shrutam, also there is another saying is there. These are all very famously quoted. So based on the karma only, all your entire life, this life and again whatever life you are going to have hereafter, if you are Ajnani, all that is determined by your own Punya Karma and Papa Karma. That is said here, this Brhadaranyaka Vakya, it is quoted a lot by Bhashyakara also. I have said this. So you can know this. So this is where, so that is what the greatest thing about our culture is. Every action we say has two results, correct? The Drishta Phala is obviously there, but then Adrishta also is there. You are accumulating Punya depending on what you did was Dharma and or Adharma. If you do Dharma, you accumulate Punya. If you do Adharma, you are accumulating Papa. And these two are Avashyam Bhavi. Even in the 147, if you go back, or 1410, all these Bhashyas, Bhashyakara talks about karma there. Particularly the Prarabdham karma is very balavat and all that he says, even for a jnani. And one has to overcome that that conditioning which is there due to that. So the karma has to be exhausted. Once it starts, it has to be exhausted. And for Ajnani, there is no escape from karma phala. Of course, you can still do prayaschitta and all that, but that is again an effort, right? Anyway, you have to put in. So this karma is the one which is the main factor. Therefore, what iti evam yajnavalkyena prashneshu nirniteshu. So in this manner, Yajnavalkya determined what is the answer. Okay, in this case, and then what? Tataha ashakya prakampatva Yajnavalkyasya. Okay, so this person could not shake Yajnavalkya, it seems. Or shake means what? He could not dislodge his bails. In cricketing terms, if we have to say, our Arthabhaga kept on bowling, but Yajnavalkya was able to defend everything, or in some cases he hit it for a 6 also. So he could not dislodge Yajnavalkya's bails. He could not shake him in any manner. Therefore, what then? Jaratkara said, okay, my over is over. I am stopping now. I have bowled my 6 deliveries. I couldn't do anything. I am stopping. So Jaratkarava Arthabhaga Upararama, he withdrew, or he stopped questioning anymore, because he felt that Yajnavalkya anyway knows all these things and he is really worthy of taking all the cows. Okay, remember that originally the 1,000 cows with all the gold, they are all still there while these people are arguing. So he went away. So this Dvitiyam Brahmanam is over with this. Now the Tritiyam Brahmana, this is a very short Brahmana actually, but Bhashyakara starts with a big bhashyam here. Interesting bhashya is there. So this is called Bhujyu Brahmana. Bhujyuhu Lahyayanihi. So the next person who comes to question Yajnavalkya is this Bhujyuhu. So that's why this third Brahmana is called Bhujyu Brahmana. You can see here, but it's a very small Brahmana. Only, in fact, 2 Vakyas are there. But there is a big bhashya in the introduction to this Brahmana. I think all this we'll see next week. Om Purnamadah Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnameva Vashishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Harihi Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Harihi Om.